I personally took a break. I do believe there is life outside cinema. ஒரு Cheran sir படம் பண்ணாலே, it's like, I need another like 6 months break.
There is always a myth like women always put another women down. I'm happy to see like women are lifting each other.
நான் இது நிறையவே வாட்டி சொல்லிருக்கேன். Female friendships are really not explored. And it's not because it's a female friendship, it's just friendship. So actually when my partner saw it, by the last scene they're all tearing up. That it really does not matter female or a male friendship.
I think there is a certain way in which dance inhabits your body and your mind. You can look at them and you can say they're dancers. If they've really lived these roles, they bring to it their rich experience.
I think that one vada and one coffee only will plays a major role during that performance.
I kind of live to eat, so food will play a major role in all my films.
And she will make sure that the diversity of food is also there. There's always a conversation starter. And Kanya started that conversation and ended it. Most of our films are male-centered, fortunately. Unfortunately, for instance, if you even just take Thavamaai Thavamirundhu, it's after Rajkiran and Charanya's character that my character even gets talked about. So difficult to find authentic films on our lives.
Summer holidays vandachu, நம்ம GT Holidays vandachu. GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
அதிகப்படியான முடி உதிர்தல், தலையில் அரிப்பு, பொடுகு, புண், கொப்பளங்கள் போன்றவற்றால் அவதியா? அனைத்திற்கும் ஒரே தீர்வு டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீ வர்மா PCR கேஷமுத் ஷாம்பு. ASAL Swipe and IFT Productions presents MAJAVA London with ASAL KOLAR happening on April 26th. Tickets link in the description.
Hi, this is Deepika from Rednool and we have three beautiful ladies with us from the team backstage. Hi, Vanakkam from Chennai.
Vanakkam, hi.
This question is to Padma and Rima. So, how happy you were like being a classical dancer? I mean, like, I think it would have brought you so many memories from your childhood also. So, I really wanted to know that.
Rima, you want to take it first?
No.
Priya.
Yeah, actually, I have like all the films that I've done, I've rarely danced, very little dancing, and one of the key reasons it's so difficult to find authentic films on our lives. The dance ulagame, especially our oral traditional dance forms have a very peculiar setting. It's a world of its own, and it has its own idiosyncrasies and things like that. And so when Anjali brought this story, it was such a kickstart because you finally go, somebody gets this
somebody
word.
Yes,
somebody really gets us. So a lot of my dance friends also watched it. They were like, oh, finally there's somebody, like, there's always, நம்ம படங்கள் எல்லாம் நிறைய dancing இருக்கும் of all kinds and stuff.
Yeah.
And but this is the life of dancers, actually it's not just traditional dancers. I shared this video with some of our dance choreographer from the cinema industry. Avanga life அப்படிதான், the dancers who actually work with them, they also have like this entire life which is happening in the back. The rivalry, the tension, but then the happiness of going on stage and then creating something, and how the gurus kind of teachers become such an integral part of your life and your parents' lives. And it's like one whole, it's like a whole universe. So for me, it was such a pleasure reliving. Actually, my character, if I have to be very honest, a lot of it is inspired from my own dance teacher. Her name is Manjula Ramaswamy. She was actually taking over from my master, who was much senior and learned from, very senior doyen and stuff. So, as a daughter, kind of also going to be teaching with her father, she was always, and she was very early in her start. So there was a sense of bossiness, and there was a sense of still like an assertion and still like a very beautiful kind of relationship that she differently created than what master created with us. So a lot of those things, like the way Gauri calls the girls, the way she takes photographs and gives the Kanjivaram sari, all of those things, when I actually read it, for me it was a reminder of Manjoka. So yeah, in a way it's also like some kind of an ode to her from my end. Little things which you pick up in your daily life.
Rima, your take.
I think same with me. I have like a professional dance. I mean, I have a dance company and I'm still dancing. So that whole trajectory of my character Kanya, where she's she was a dancer, then she gets into films and she's again dancing. it was way too close to reality for me. And I was just telling Anjali, I got my whole team together, and we all watched the movie together. So it's such I don't know. Even today, I was talking to another friend, and she's like, it's like life's come full circle for you. You're portraying a dancer on screen. It's so nice. And I was telling Anjali, thanks for making it happen. Like a full-fledged dancer character. I think we've been dreaming about it for so long, and it's finally happening. And that too, uh, with dance as one of the layers. I think she seeped down into female. Everything about being a woman, in a field like this, and also about how friends, that female friendship. I think we've all been experiencing that on another level with how WCC has come together, and all of us have been together, and we know how difficult it is, at the same time how enriching it is. you know um, I think that it's the biggest takeaway for me. I think when you say fourth wave feminism, if we had one thing that the first three waves didn't have, it is female friendships. I think that is what completely sets apart this era of women. We have really found some kind of strength from these female friendships that we have developed, and I'm so happy that in all its complex nature, with all its flaws, we could like bare our souls in this movie. It was so liberating for me, if you ask me.
Speaking of female friendships, I really wanted to ask Anjali ma'am, because there is always a myth like women always put another women down, and I'm happy to see like women are lifting each other.
I think you answered it yourself. It's a myth.
Yes.
In our experience of daily life, there's a lot of things which are portrayed about women which aren't true. And this is simply one of them, where when we actually look through many challenges in life, if you turn around and see who are the ones who really stuck by you, then very often we find we're leaning on the shoulders of other women. And and that is a very simple way to say that in every challenge we tend to actually even lean more on women, because that's the way we've sort of had experience as a gender, as our closest allies are often women. I don't know why it is portrayed otherwise, and I think that is a narrative that suits people who are not women. So I think simply said, it's a myth.
Choosing Rima and Padmapriya, what was that one thing like just sparked in your mind? Okay, they should only do backstage. What is it?
See, the thing is, if you actually see, they're speaking so much about dancing, but if you look at the film, there's only two scenes where there's dancing. One is when they're younger in the dance class, and one is at the end on the stage. When you're a dancer, I think there is a certain way in which dance inhabits your body and your mind. And so it was very important for me to have actors who can play that, because that dance needed to inhabit their body and their mind. And both of them, whether they're on stage or not stage, you can look at them and you can say they're dancers. And that's a quality which remains. You have to really work very hard to get rid of it, because otherwise it stays within you. The way you move, there's certain grace you hold, there's a certain way, in which you communicate. All of these things, I think we sort of get it from dance. And that was very, very crucial for these roles, because there's a little of, I think, nritya and natya in everything that we do. Every time we express, maybe our facial mobility is also higher, simply because you've trained in a certain way. But with both of them, they've had wonderful bodies of work. And yet, I've also found that this area, which is actually such a big part of them, has not really been explored. And as a director, I get very excited when I see certain areas in an actor which are not explored and are very rich. So, for me, it was just, how do you say? I felt like a kid in a candy store, because you had these two fantastic dancers. You could do anything you wanted. So yeah, it was the easiest thing to decide, actually, because they just are those people who they're artists at the end of the day. And much of this narrative is not just about dance; it's also about women in the arts. I saw a beautiful post someone shared today about how it's about upholding women in the arts, both in their journey as well as in themselves, and that speaks to us. That really speaks to us, and I think they've really lived these roles, not just from the briefing that I would have given or what the script would have told them, but they bring to it their rich experience, and that is what really makes Kanya and Gauri.
I think they both are in cloud nine after hearing the words from your seriously. So yeah, I really wanted to ask this question to all three of you because like one such film, I mean any other film as such, word of mouth plays a major role, and I've been seeing just positive reviews just pouring all over the internet. So how happy are you?
Okay, who wants to go first? See, I would say I'm very thrilled because at the end of the day, like we speak about dance, it's the rasa theory which states that any communication, it has to reach the audience, and the audience has to reach that same sort of emotional engagement as the performer. So our rasa theory is complete only when the audience watches the film and responds to it. So many of them to put up posts and to share it, and we're with an OTT which is relatively young, so not many people know about it. But fortunately, it's free. So once people understand how to log in, then it gets easier. So that kind of awareness building, so many people from the audience are really helping each other out, and that's really heartening that they want people to watch the film, so they go out there. We had somebody actually list instructions about how to log into the portal, what to do at every step, and I'm forwarding that to you. you know. So it's wonderful having that support from the audience.
Padmapriya.
In particularly with respect to backstage, I think for me this is it's so exciting and thrilling because for a long time in many interviews நான் நிறையவே வாட்டி சொல்லிருக்கேன், female friendships are really not explored for me, and it's not because it's a female friendship, it's just friendship. So actually when my partner saw it, lots of my male friends who have watched it would, like, by the last scene they're all tearing up. And I think that sense of idea of friendship is so celebrated, amongst us as humans, that it really does not matter whether it's a female or a male friendship. And the fact that we're getting to kind of create a stage and space to finally find to see that on screen, and for actually having had the platform to do it with the background of dance, because as Anjali said, that this is one place where we see women as professionals, and more women as professionals, at least in India. So it's very easy to relate, to see them at work. And number three, to actually do that with people like Anjali and Rima, whom I know actually first as a dancer before I knew her as an actor, or before even I became an actor and Rima became an actor. We staged, we danced together in Bangalore. So our relationship goes back then, and then to create that ecosystem in this space. And that, talking about cinema, and I love Kanya's character principally because she is a voice to a lot of Namlu Nanu dance lind na, I became an actor. Didn't know I will be an actor, but to see that that Kanya kind of, and through Anjali's writing, of course, she who created both Gauri and Kanya, to see our lives being spoken about, our lives as actors in our 20s, in our 30s, and therefore, and their hence. And then to see that being celebrated by the audience, that for me is very, very thrilling. So, for those who have seen and who have not seen, it's a 40-minute film. Watch it again. It's very heartening. It'll definitely make your day, afternoon, evening, and even a good night's sleep. So yeah, it's been a pleasure for me, and I can take the liberty of saying for the entire unit of backstage, each and everyone who has been part of it, and thanks so much for embracing it with the same love that we made it with.
Like I said, I really feel this is a tribute to our, the friendships that have built us in our lives. I kind of totally attribute it. I recently celebrated my birthday, and my childhood friends, like my school friends, to all the women who have stood by me in this journey, like all of them came together and threw me a party. And I really, really believe my primary support system and the family that I've made in my life are these women. And For me, it I really deeply resonated with what was being told in this film, because I was so. I mean, I was so emotional about it. It was so overwhelming for me when I was performing. Remember that single take we did. Anjali and Priya. I mean, we didn't need any other external support. We were really there emotionally. Our whole
Yeah,
system was there.
Anjali made us cry a lot. If you guys are crying a little,
Yes.
made us cry a lot without glycerine.
See, the thing is, if the cast is right, then it's so much easier. I can just sit back and watch because
And
they'll
just
just
watch
go.
them cry.
I think when people are watching it also, I think they're all, they're going back to those friendships. That is why they're resonating so deeply with it. When we say it with the right heart and, the right intent, it will connect with the right people also. And that's the beauty of art and, the power of cinema. And it's so beautiful to see, it like Anjali was saying, it's a new platform, but everybody's writing and asking us how do we watch it. We are just having such a nice time reading all these detailed reviews. I love detailed reviews because that it's really touched them when they're writing paragraphs about it. So it's so nice. It was so beautiful, and I have Anjali and Priya to thank for this. It's always wonderful. I think this is the safest I felt on a set, and Anjali's set is everything that I dreamt of a set of a set to be.
Rima, do you remember once we ran into each other at a place when I was with another set of actors? And I remember meeting you there, and you were watching how we were together, and then you messaged me at the end of the day that someday I want to be, there on that table.
That's yeah, I know. Yes, yes.
So I wanted to say
And
one
I'm
more
so
thing.
glad it happened.
Me too. I wanted to say one more thing that, a lot of people think it's about dance. And of course, it is about dance. But I've also had a lot of responses from people who have nothing to do with dance. From male, female. Their perspectives are very interesting, where their takeaway is actually nothing to do with dance or the arts. But I had a lady write to me. I think she's in her 60s, and she wrote to me saying that it's actually wonderful to see a group of women dress up another women for something which is not a wedding or an engagement, for a professional performance. It's just wonderful to see that. We never think like that. I took a moment when I read that we never see that on screen. So that's her point. That it was just fresh to see someone being dressed up so that they can perform. And that meant a lot to me personally. Because those are small little places where we want to push the envelope, and I hope people do have more takeaways like that.
Speaking of more the emotions, even food also plays a major emotion here. I think we do so many performance. I think that one vada and one coffee only will plays a major role during that performance. I think that food is an emotion, to be very honest, because it will be a very huge performance. I think we will be surviving with that one vada and one coffee only.
Well, I have to say, I kind of live to eat, so food will play a major role in all my
Yes.
films.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Food will play an important role in all Anjali films, regardless, and she will make sure that the diversity of food is also there. But yes, dance food and dance stage food and how mothers kind of play such an important role in making sure that you're able to go on stage. Honestly, if I have become a dancer, that's only primarily because of the efforts of my mother being there, dropping me in class, picking me up, making sure I have a lunch box, and then making sure when the performance is there that she and a lot of other mothers will be there tying plaits for us, doing our makeup, and making sure. I still remember I had this terrible habit that exactly when I had to go on stage, when I was a kid especially, I'd have to go to the bathroom. And my mother would just like, you just go bonkers because behind the stage instead of like sitting in the front and watching my performance, you'd have to like be at the back to make sure that I'm ready to go. So I think mothers and food, fathers, their roles. I mean, not much said in this film because it's a short film, but I think food is food is always a conversation starter, and Kanya started that conversation and ended it very sweetly. Sorry.
Okay, Rima, to add on to this, food is an emotion. I mean, I think two different types of food we could have seen. I mean, especially with the backstage.
I'm wondering if I should talk about it, but
Why,
I don't know
what
if it'll be
happened?
beeped.
See,
should they
food
But
is
because it's a
emotional, food
family
is
channel.
won't be
everything.
beeped out?
No, food is
But because it's
emotional,
a
food
family
is political, food is history, food is, so many, many things. But,
Food
Everything.
is
yeah.
political.
And so yeah, I mean, I think backstage is the chaos of it and the energy there and what all we do there is so many memories. And I was saying I've asked my photographer to get me pictures of the backstage, what all we're doing backstage. We've done a series. So I was saying I want it now. I think we should post it at the right time for that.
In fact, it is a very rich landscape. There's so much drama there. There's actually much more drama off stage than on stage. Rich place to explore relationships and stories and everything. So I think, in fact, it's funny how when we look at cinema outside of India, look a lot of Western cinema. We have such beautiful documentation of ballet and flamenco and so many dances. But in India, where we have such a strong tradition, where so many of us grow up learning dance, we still don't see it on our screen. Sometimes you'll have, in the middle of some song, I think earlier in the 80s and 90s, the heroine would be asked to do two steps of Bharatanatyam, and it would be that. It's very rarely, but we have had films like Shankarabharanam, but still in the contemporary cinema, we don't really see that much. And I think there is a space for it, there is the audience for it, evidently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Here, seeing you guys talk, I could see like how much fun you had in the shooting spot as well, because I think it would have brought you memories. But one question, being in the south, it's a common question to all. Why is that huge gap for Rima as well, Padmapriya as well as Anjali, ma'am? I mean, like, you have done beautiful films, ma'am, and we do love your films. Of course, you've done a short film now, but we are waiting for your film. And Rima, I think only one film in Tamil. And Padma ma'am, I mean, like, she has done unique roles, but huge gap in the Tamil industry and the South Indian film industry. Why is that gap? I really wanted to ask all three of you.
Who wants to go first?
Anjali, you deserve to go first because a lot of actors would love to work with you.
No,
I've still
right.
not done long form with you.
I take time to write, and that is one reason for the gap. But also, I have a life outside of cinema. So, frankly, it's a life I enjoy very much, and it's when I'm really committed to a subject that is when I'm making a film. So, yes, I do take time, but hopefully the gaps will reduce. Let's look forward to that.
As artists, we are pretty much waiting for people to call us and give us exciting roles and see. And when we have something, we're there. But then, it needs to excite us. It needs to come to us at the right time. And yeah, yeah.
I'd like to add something because I think it's up to makers to actually reach out and explore that. Rather than, I'd rather they do fewer but more and more different ones, where every side of their artistic personality is explored. And people should really take more risks because I think, they have much more to give. They have much more to give. I can't wait for my next time to work with both of them because, I think there's so much there. I'm looking forward.
So sweet, so sweet.
My answer is a combo of both of them. I personally took a break because, like Anjali, I do believe that there is life outside cinema. And there was this very interesting interview of Leonardo DiCaprio that I was watching today, and he was talking about how, as an actor, when you come into cinema, there are these characters and there are these films that really come and occupy your life. And once you enter into films, you get so consumed by yourself and by the work you do, you tend to kind of lose sight of the beauty that you can, especially for an actor, because for us, at least as filmmakers and directors and writers, they get far more space. For us, it's like we were doing one film, and especially for female actors, they are already asking the second film. So even if you notice my choices in Tamil when I was very active, until I took a break, even at that time I would do one film at a time. ஒரு Cheran sir படம் பண்ணாலே, it's like, I need another like 6 months break. So having said that, like Anjali and Rima said, I think it's a combination of both, right? Like there are fewer very interesting female characters which is written. So one is the gap is because of that. And the second is that especially if you're not a woman in your 20s, then there's far lesser stuff to do because you can't be the because most of our films are male centered, fortunately, unfortunately. And I feel like even with male lead films, there can be such interesting female lead films. For instance, if you even just take Thavamaai Thavamirundhu, I am actually like it's after Rajkiran and Charanya's character that my character even gets talked about, and should actually, right? But still, I feel like Vasanthi is such a strong character, and somehow those kind of characters are so much lesser for women in their 30s, and I don't know why. Because and we're also in this very interesting age where we're not like we're individual identities, and we have actually more stories to say. And if you see most of our male co-actors, whoever it is, number age group male co-actors, they actually do the best of their works at this time. So as my answer is a combination of both what Anjali and Rima said. We are here. I'm off my breaks. I'm here, happy to do more good films, work with great filmmakers, like such amazing filmmakers in India, in Tamil, and in all languages. That I really look forward that those opportunities come to us, and we will do it with honesty. That's all I can say.
Wow, wow. Well said, well said. So happy to speak to you guys. Seriously, just made my day. And women, in the eyes of women, actually plays a major role. And I mean, I could see through backstage. And thank you so much for this beautiful short film. Before we wind up, do you want to add on anything to the audience?
Go watch Backstage. Please, if you're watching it, watch
Get
it,
your
guys.
friends together and watch it. I feel it'll be such an experience, when all your friends sit together and watch it.
I found a peculiar thing that some people have started to post about the film and they're tagging friends who they haven't talked to in a long time. And I thought that was really special. And see, it's a small film with a lot of heart. We've all really, believed in it, and they've all put in a lot of conviction and hard work. But more than anything, what translates is that honesty with which we've tried to do it. I think the audience is relating to the emotions in the film, and if it makes any difference in their lives, then that we are the happiest for that.
And we would love to hear from
I
them.
know.
Tag us.
Thank you so much for that, ma'am, and the whole team. Wish you all the very best and do keep doing what you're doing and bring more films like this.
Thank you very much.
Summer holidays வந்தாச்சு நம்ம GT Holidays வந்தாச்சு GT Holidays South India's #1 travel brand.
அதிகப்படியான முடி உதிர்தல், தலையில் அரிப்பு, பொடுகு, புண், கொப்பளங்கள் போன்றவற்றால் அவதியா? அனைத்திற்கும் ஒரே தீர்வு டாக்டர் ஸ்ரீ வர்மா PCR கேஷமுத் ஷாம்பு. ASAL Wipe and IFT Productions presents MAJAVA London with ASAL KOLAR happening on April 26th. Tickets link in the description.